Now, Wednesday is the second day of a two-day strike in downtown Khartoum as protesters demand an end to Sudan's 30-year military rule and the immediate handover of power to a civilian administration. An alliance of unions, professional organizations and political parties called the strike, demanding that Sudan's military council move quicker to transfer power to a civilian government. Military leaders seized power in April following the ouster of former longtime President Omar al-Bashir after months of street protests.
We are on strike because we have specific demands, and we insist to achieve them. A civilian-led authority, and also bring those who killed the martyrs to justice. Those martyrs are our sons, and their blood was a sacrifice for freedom, justice, and peace.
Across Khartoum, most businesses appeared to be closed except for small stores selling basic necessities and petrol stations. Numerous international flights to Sudan were also cancelled as aviation employees threatened to strike. Talks between the alliance and the military council collapsed earlier this month after soldiers attacked peaceful demonstrators in the city, killing several and wounding hundreds. Now, for more on the protests in Sudan, Hala al-Karib, Regional Director of the Strategic Initiative for Women, Horn of Africa, joins me live via phone from Khartoum. Hala, good evening and welcome to Africa 54.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me.
Now, Hala, it's day two of the protests today, and the division between the military council and the protesters continue. What is the likely scenario of this stalemate?
Well, it is day two of the civil strike, and people are demanding a transition to a civil government. The military council has been in control of the country since the fall of Bashir's regime on the 11th of April. So it has been literally almost 2 months where people have been on ongoing protest, and they have been a very intense sitting next to the army headquarters, and there have been ongoing negotiations. For the past 2 weeks, the negotiation has not been going smoothly between the Freedom and Change forces, representing majority of the Sudanese people who are demanding a transition to civil government, and Sudan Military Council, which is composed of...
Hala, if you can hear me. Yes. But do you see any?
Yes, I can hear you.
Do you see any likely, breakthrough in this political stalemate?
Well, I think the only breakthrough will happen, if the negotiation resumes and if the military council is showing flexibility and is showing interest in accommodating the desire of the Sudanese people for civil democratic government that can take the country through into a legitimate election within the coming 3 years, as it was discussed before.
Now, you have been part of a growing number of women groups and activists who are agitating for change. What do women of Sudan expect to see happen?
We are definitely, as women, fighting for a democratic civil state. We experience living under a totalitarian military regime for over 30 years. And women in Sudan have been humiliated, they struggle, they suffer, their rights have been violated under one of the worst legal frameworks. So definitely as women, we are fighting for a civil state, and we are fighting for our rights to be recognized by the new civil government that's going to come to rule Sudan. And for this, we are mobilizing grassroots women, young women across the country to formulate an agenda and to be prepared for the transition.
Now, Hala, we understand that a woman was shot dead today during the protest. Quickly, what more do you know about this?
This is an extremely sad situation. We have been talking for years since, the war in Darfur against the militarization that has been happening in urban centers and in rural areas across Sudan. And since April 11 and before, the streets of Khartoum are full of military actors, some paramilitary paramilitary forces, that are randomly, shooting and exchanging live fire and things like that. And this is extremely dangerous. This is not the first incident during the course of the past 2 months. And this must be stopped. Otherwise, we are in a very, very critical and dangerous situation. And Sudan seriously can slide into a civil war if this situation continues.
All right, Hala, I think we'll have to leave it here for today. Thank you very much for talking to us. Hala,
you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Hala al-Karib is Regional Director for the Strategic Initiative for Women, Horn of Africa, and she joined us live via phone from Khartoum.